my friends and fiends, and welcome to Session 0 number 2 for D&D Surprise Party. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Yield Dragon. I hope everybody is doing well today. So we're going to be hitting number 2 tonight. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the Surprise Party concept, I sent out an invitation to the community at Chaotic Tiefling. And it's that's the production company that did What Streams May Come, the live Shakespearean reading streams that I have been so fortunate to be able to have participated in the last couple of months. And our players are drawn from the casts of the various episodes of What Streams May Come. They're all part of the same community. So the thing is, they don't know who they're going to be playing with. I sent out a general invitation saying, hey, who wants to play Dungeons and Dragons? But there's a catch. You're not going to know who you're playing with until the first game session. So everybody's going to have a session 0 of their very own, and then we will be getting everybody together for a big reveal at the very beginning of our first game session, which you can find on the Chaotic Tiefling Twitch channel on Wednesday night, January 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, the order that the sessions zeros are going in are based on the roll of a d12. I had my players each roll a d12. I gave them a hint it might have something to do with the order of the sessions 0. But instead of being the highest number going first, the lowest number went first. So now we're going to be starting off with our player number 2, and that will be Sara B. Hello, Sara.
Hiya.
So welcome to your very own Session 0.
Here we go.
So now how long have you been playing D&D?
Not very long. I started probably about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Played kind of irregularly. I've been mostly a DM for the last few years, so I'm looking forward to being able to actually play once again.
Okay, well, I am glad to deliver a vessel for your play. So, okay, so now you actually rolled the second lowest number, so that is why you got Session 0. Now, the way we're going to be doing this is I'm going to be going over a couple of things first. Going to be going over the some of the house rules. We're going to be doing your character creation tonight, and we'll go over some of the safety concerns like along those lines. And we should hopefully be able to put in a little bit of play to set the stage for your entry into the game when everybody gets together. And I'm trying to not make it everybody meets in the tavern. How are you doing today? So I'm going to try to not go in that direction. I'm going to pray. So all right, so let's first we're going to start off with just a couple of house rules quick. Part of the house rules actually deals with creating your character. What we're going to do is we are going to be rolling 4d6. We're going to take the best 3. So the lowest one, they get axed, and we'll use that for all your stats, and then you'll get to place them in whatever order that you want. Now, here's where the little twist comes in. If for some reason your modifiers do not add up to +5, you have the option of re-rolling all your stats again. And that first set is gone. So it'll as if it was hit by the Xanathar's disintegration ray. And so then you'll have the second set to deal with. If that turns out to be less than +5, and it doesn't have any stats that you really, really like, we can then just go to a standard array and set things up from there. So that's house rule number 1. House rule number 2 deals with something that hopefully we won't have to take into account during this game, and that is resurrection rules. I'm going to be using the resurrection rules created by the co-DMs at D4, which is available in DM's Guild. And so I'll be using that. And also, I also like another one of their rules, and that's about dealing critical damage. If you roll one of those delightful natural 20s, or depending on the class and level, sometimes you get to roll a 19 or a 20 as a critical. Your damage will be 1 maximum of the die. So you would roll let's say you're using a long sword. Ordinarily, you would do a D8 plus your strength. The first die is automatically the full D8, and then it'll be another roll for more dice, and then your strength modifier or your dex modifier if you have a like a rapier or a I am blanking on the word. This is really good here. This is the wonder of semi-live television. Yeah, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. So that's about it for now. That's all you really need to worry about. All we need to worry about right now, primarily though, is rolling up your character. So we'll go into our character building mode in just a second. But first, I just wanted to let you know that the way that these sessions are going, there is an advantage to having the lowest number and going in the order that you are. The person before you has already selected their character and class, their race and their class. So that's going to kind of cut down on your available choices, but only by 1 in each. So feel sorry for number 4 and number 5 because they'll have a few less choices to go through. But fortunately, I'll see what we do, because with so many subclasses available now, there's always room for a different type, because you're going to get a different flavor. I'd like to try to stretch out the races as much as possible to try to make it as diverse a cast of characters as it is our cast of players. Because we do have a fairly diverse cast. But we have plenty of new options available, because we will be, in fact, heavily using Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which was just recently published by Wizards of the Coast. No, that is not a paid promotion. That is just me holding up my newest Christmas present, which I opened early. Because, well, they're not rules. It's more like guidelines, says I. But anyway, oh, and one other thing. The game that we are going to be playing is The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. So we are going to be starting our character creation, and I'm going to just switch on over to our character build screen. Voila. And, okay, so we are using D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond, of course, is that tool that helps you use the assets available from Dungeons and Dragons to build your character. Through the use of various digital versions of the books, you can build your character. You can also use digital dice, and there's also currently in beta testing an encounter tracker as well. And the reason that I am talking so much about D&D Beyond at the moment is because they're sponsoring us. So thank you so much, D&D Beyond, for sponsoring the D&D Surprise Party. Hope you like what you see. And we're going to be using D&D Beyond to make all the characters for all the session zeros. All right, so let's see what we got here. We are setting our character preferences at the moment. So homebrew content is okay to have on there right now. We are going to be using Critical Role content as well for classes and the way they run some of the races. We are not going to have Magic the Gathering content active, and I'll go into that in a few moments as to why. Eberron content, yes, we are going to be using that. We are not going to be using Rick and Morty and non-core D&D content. We are going to be using the optional features, which are courtesy of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So we are going to be activating optional class features. We are going to be using Customize Your Origin. Over to race. So as you can see, there's quite a lot to choose from. Now, as for what player number 1 selected, they chose a half-orc. They chose, actually, well, I won't go too much into specifics, but it's a half-orc. They did take a variant half-orc. So you can go pretty much anywhere from there. You have a ton to choose from. You can take anywhere from an Aarakocra all the way down to a Goliath or a Kobold or Lizard Folk or a Full Orc, a Tabaxi, a Tiefling, a Turtle even. You pretty much the whole gamut. In fact, this was kind of the reason that I wanted to mention about before, how I kept out the Magic the Gathering stuff. Because some races might not work too well in a seaside setting like Saltmarsh. Because I don't think a centaur would be good on a boat. So, do you have any ideas as to what you want to do?
I am eyeing up a good old tiefling. I love tieflings. They're some of my favorites to play. I have never used any of the sub races for tiefling though.
Yes, that was something that they put in. I believe it was either in Volo's or in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes when they expanded the tieflings to incorporate different devils.
Ah, I see.
Because otherwise they were all coming from Asmodeus.
Gotcha.
So that's why they put in the different bits and everything. There's different aspects that they take, but keep in mind too that with the new origin options, you can put the stat modifiers for the race in any stat now.
Yeah.
So
I'm
because
mostly looking for flavor.
okay. Well, let's see. Well, do you want to go more for a typical heat resistant, fire using tiefling, or do you want to try something like a cold using tiefling?
A cold using tiefling could be kind of interesting. I was kind of looking at the variant feral because I think that one looks kind of interesting with having the different physical characteristics. I think is very fun because I love a forked tail, red or dark blue skin. Sorry, they're probably not going to be red or blue. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, let's see.
And
Well, the feral has let's see. Well, the feral has dark vision. See, originally there was the +2 to the dexterity, +1 to intelligence, whereas the standard tiefling gets a bonus to charisma, and I believe constitution.
Yeah.
But again, you can go in any direction that you want as far as your stats are concerned. You don't have to hold to the archetype.
Yeah. I mean, I probably will use the charisma boost based on what I'm kind of thinking about for class. I'm thinking a warlock would be very fun. So that's a charisma. I should
Okay.
get that charisma boost.
All right, so you want to go with the feral tiefling?
I think so. There's there's a variant feral and just a feral. I don't know what the difference is.
Let me see. Let's see.
Oh, different cantrips. The variant feral has some more spells that
Okay. Considering that, then you might want to go with the variant feral
I think I will because
because as a warlock.
I would very much love to be able to cast vicious mockery.
Okay.
I very much vibe with that.
No, I would never have guessed that.
All right.
Okay. Appearance. Your tiefling might not look like other tieflings. Rather than having the physical characteristic described in the player's handbook, choose 1d4 of the following features.
All right, let me roll that good pyramid. Let's see.
Let me go to their details page in case there's a table for it, because they have several different things. Oh, well, you can choose from these. So, what did you roll on your d4?
I rolled a 2, so that is 3 features.
Okay. So you can make any of these following changes. You can choose small horns.
I want the big horns.
Um,
What's the
you
fun
can
of having
choose
a tiefling?
you can choose fangs or sharp teeth as opposed to just normal teeth. A forked tongue, cat-like eyes, 6 fingers on each hand, goat-like legs, cloven hooves, a forked tail, leathery or scaly skin, red or dark blue skin, cast no shadow or reflection, or exude a smell of brimstone.
All right. So immediately the ones that get me is I love the fangs and I think the cat-like eyes is fun.
Okay, I'm making a note of this so we can add it to the character description later on.
Yeah.
All right, so you want the cat eyes,
Hmm.
the fangs.
Yep. And I'm trying to decide
Well,
which.
considering what I said about the minotaurs, the satyrs.
Oh, I'm not touching the goat legs and cloven hooves.
Okay.
No, thank you. No, I'm looking between the forked tail and I think it would be very interesting to cast no shadow. But
That would be very interesting.
that also might not be a great idea.
Well, you never know in a place like Saltmarsh.
I mean, it's not like the forked tail is going to be easy to hide either. So,
Well, I think it would be. The question is, too, is how easy is it to notice that you cast no shadow?
yeah, that's what I was considering. It'd be very interesting to do the no reflection. Go teeny bit vampire on it. I think I'm gonna go with no reflection. That's fun.
Okay, it's actually cast no shadow or reflection, so that would.
Both.
You want
Okay.
both?
I can
I'll,
do both. That'd be fun.
no shadow or reflection. Because that can lead to something very interesting in and of itself, and that would be, are you an illusion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. All right, so thanks. So you're gonna come. Oh, let me go to Origin Manager. Let me just go over these quick here. So we will check off origin ability score increases. I'll check off origin languages too. So you can choose your own languages as well. You don't have to
Okay.
get saddled with them. All right, back over to racial traits. Let me see what we've got here. Okay. Oh, you know what? I did something. I skipped something entirely because I was just so eager to get going with your character because I could tell that you wanted to get right to it. And we're going to pause right here. I'm not going to pause recording. I am going to just pause the character creation here to go over any kind of safety concerns. That's what I was starting to go to when I was talking about the adventure, Saltmarsh, and that's when I noticed that everything started getting a little choppy pre-edit and everything. So, are there any concerns that you have about playing the game that would send up a red flag for you? Any areas that I should not go into as far as as far as like any kind of horror goes? Because there might be some body horror because there's a little bit of a Lovecraft vibe in Saltmarsh itself. Not so much in the first adventure because it is a level 1 to 3 adventure. But as it goes later on, and if we do eventually go into the other episodes, there might be a little bit more into it. So is there anything that is off limits for you?
Um, so body horror is fine for me. Suicide and self-harm is hard off limits for me. Um, those are those are the big ones on my end.
Okay. All right, because I'll have to double check the adventure itself. There might be there. I think there because of the way that Saltmarsh is and the situation that's in the town. There might be some people that they talk about that might have that
Okay.
they're saying that he hung himself because of
Right.
the
That
shame or
should be
something like that.
that is fine. I just don't want like depictions of it or things like that.
Okay, so as long as it's as long as it's more narrative rather than encountering.
Yeah. If it's like off stage, like the Shakespeare characters are coming on and talking about all the crazy stuff that's happening off stage.
Exit pursued by bear.
Yes, precisely.
Okay. All right. So yeah, because Salt Marshes has some very like creepy elements built into it, and I will tell you right off the bat too that there is a little bit of a racial divide right now pertaining to dwarves.
Okay.
So it's mostly business wise though. I'll give you that much just to give you a little bit more of an idea. So if there's anything that might be triggered in there for you.
All right. I should be all right. That's not a thing for me.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Yeah, it's kind of like in some instances, it's not too much of a spoiler because it's going to be there in the description of the opening of the game that there is a mining interest and there are dwarves that are involved in this mining interest and a lot of residents are not happy about it. So it's kind of along the same vibe as the people of Lake Town having a mad on for the dwarves in The Hobbit
Okay.
because they reneged on their promise to help them and everything
Okay.
along those lines. Um, so all right. So that's pretty much in line with what player one said too. So you two are pretty much on the same page, and I am on that page with you. No problem.
Cool.
All right. So let's see here.
Ability
Ability
scores.
scores. Okay, you get to choose an ability score to increase by 1, and you get an ability score to increase by 2.
So I'm gonna increase charisma by 2. That
I kind of
seems
had a feeling you were going to.
yeah, it just seems wise thing to do. Um, to increase by one, I think I'm gonna go for Constitution. Because it's never a bad idea to put a little bit into your con,
This is true.
especially when you are a squishy spellcaster.
Yes. And warlocks can be fairly squishy, which
Yes, I'm
is
not
why
planning
I'm
on.
which is why I'm glad that warlock that I play has a rapier. I also took as many things as I could get that could get me as many cantrips as I could too. Because when you only have 2 spell slots to deal with at level 5, you
Yeah.
need some ammo.
Yep. Origin languages. S- So I'm gonna get Sylvan.
Okay, and you want to go with common as your
Yeah.
as your other base?
Do you have
It
to? Oh,
could,
you do have to pick common.
yeah, it could lead for very interesting encounters to not speak common. And
I don't know.
I say this as someone who's played a minotaur that did not know common, but fortunately the dragonborn in the party spoke celestial, which I did.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
so he was
I'm.
basically able to translate everything.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Sylvan common. I think that's a good combination there, considering what I'm plotting. Sylvan is like the Fae, right?
Sylvan is a high elf,
Oh. Okay.
but I believe that might also, well, yeah, because Fae would probably, that might be, well, it might be, that might be a little bit more in the Fae area, as well um as far as primordial, and possibly primordial too.
Mm-hmm.
Primordial is more like elements and everything, but I think it might be up there too, like with the with the Fae as well. But I think Sylvan would probably be fine for that. So, all right, so we're going to go with common and Sylvan,
Yep.
and I
Yep.
keep wanting to almost say silver. Okay, now here's where you come in with the variant tiefling. You
Yeah.
know the vicious mockery cantrip, aka the Devil's Tongue. Hellfire. Once you reach 3rd level, you can cast Burning Hands once a day as a 2nd level spell. Oh, this trait replaces Hellish Rebuke.
Yeah, I like Hellish Rebuke, but I'm caught between Devil's Tongue and Winged.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You have bat wings sprouting from your shoulder blades. You have a flying speed of 30 feet while you aren't wearing heavy armor.
Hmm. But Vicious Mockery and Charm Person. And Enthrall. Ah, Winged is probably gonna come most in handy for this. You know, be safe and get a set of wings.
Okay. So you're going to go with wings?
Yep,
All right. Okay. So you are winged.
I am winged. Have given up on blending in.
All right. So we have our variant feral tiefling. Now they're looking for class first. Now, well, you wanted to go with a warlock,
Hmm.
so we will hit warlock. Okay, your saves are wisdom and charisma.
Ah, wisdom. Oops. Well, you know what? It'll be fine.
Okay.
So, otherworldly patron. I am not gonna do a fiend. I'm actually gonna go for an archfey.
Okay. Well, we you don't need to get into the you don't need
It's
to get
first
into the
level.
details right off the bat, do you?
Yep.
Okay.
Warlock and sorcerer are the two that you have to pick your subclass immediately, because that's how you get your power.
All right, let's see here then. Okay, there we are. Yeah. Okay, so um, your otherworldly patron, and you wanted to choose the Archfey.
Hmm.
Okay. Now your proficiencies.
Proficiencies.
You get to choose 2 skills from. Now the thing is, they're based on around wisdom and charisma. Well, there's some intelligence in there too. So, well, we have to see what you're going to be rolling for your abilities anyway. Still,
Yeah, well,
so but you can choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion.
so I think first I'm gonna take nature. Um,
Okay,
that's
that works
fine.
with a Fey patron.
Yeah, yeah. And then uh, shits and giggles, let's go deception. Also fits for the Fey courts, to be honest.
That is very true. Okay, so Nature and Deception we took. Okay. All right, so your pact magic, you will get 2 cantrips of your choice from the Warlock spell list. We'll get to that in a little bit. Um, and you'll get additional cantrips of your choice at higher levels. Um, we'll get how we'll also see how many spell slots that you get. At first
Yeah,
level, you know 2 first level spells of your choice from the spell list. Okay, this will all be put onto your character sheet too, because D&D Beyond does that automatically. But
very
you'll get your
nice.
spell save, which will be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. We are going to be starting out at level 1.
Very
So,
squishy.
very squishy, but it's an adventure made for levels 1 through 3. So, your your spell casting focus. Um, that can be just about anything
Yeah.
that your patron gives you, more or less. Um,
Probably you'll do like a pendant or something.
oh, now here's something very interesting because you have the Archfey. Um, also, probably you get you get an expanded spell list, so you get extra spells to choose from other than the ordinary warlock spells. You also get to choose from Fairy Fire and Sleep. Um, so you can choose either one of those as well. Um, and then you have what's called Fey Presence. Starting at first level, your patron bestows upon you the ability to project the beguiling and fearsome presence of the Fey. As an action, you can cause each creature in a 10-foot cube originating from you to make a wisdom saving throw against your warlock spell save DC. The creatures that fail their saving throws are all charmed or frightened by you, your choice, until the end of your next turn. So that is very interesting.
That is very fun.
That
I,
combined with the vicious mockery.
this is gonna be a very entertaining character, I
Oh
think.
wait, oh you took wings. You didn't take the vicious
Yeah,
mockery.
I did take wings, but either way, this is just gonna be a very odd character. I look forward to it.
Okay, so let's see. Optional feature manager. Let's see if there's anything else to add in here. Oh, there are additional warlock spells. They're opening up the list a little bit more too.
Ooh,
Um,
nice. Booming blade.
based on Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So yeah, so you can add to your cantrips to choose from: Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, Lightning Lure, Mind Sliver, which is nasty. Um,
Tempting.
I'll read that in a little bit. If you want to choose one from Tasha's, we'll go over what they can do. So that's what you'll get at first level that you can add into.
I think
Um,
booming blade and green flame blade are core spells, I think, because I played with those in years ago.
Okay.
I don't know about those.
All right. Well,
Mind Sliver.
I'm also adding in the for later on the Pact Boon option and the Eldritch Versatility. That'll give you another possibility for your Pact Boon instead of, like, say, Pact of the Blade, or Pact of the Tome, or Pact of the Chain. You can also add Pact of the Talisman. And the Pact of the Talisman, your patron gives you an amulet, a talisman that can aid the wearer when the need is great. When the wearer fails an ability check, they can add a d4 to the roll, potentially turning the roll into a success. This benefit can be used a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and all expended uses are restored when you finish a long rest. If you lose the talisman, you can perform a 1-hour ceremony to receive a replacement from your patron. The ceremony can be performed during a short or long rest, and it destroys the previous amulet. The talisman turns to ash when you die. Now, the fun thing about that is you can lend the talisman out. So if you want to help your party and you want somebody to really succeed on a very important role, you can give them your talisman to use.
Oh, that's fun.
But here's the thing. You can use it as a bargaining chip. Like, maybe have an artificer give you make a focus that you have into an eldritch cannon or something, like a mini blasting weapon, and you can use that for the exchange of granting the talisman.
And then you just summon a new one.
There you go. But you can you can make little deals on the side between characters, or possibly even NPCs. So there's that there's that possibility. But that doesn't come in until you get to level 3 anyway, so you don't have to worry about that kind of decision. But it's food for thought.
Indeed.
Okay. Let's do spells in a few moments. Let's go with your abilities right now.
All right. Let's do some dice.
Okay. So we are going to be using regular dice because as I said before, unfortunately, D&D Beyond, as great as it is at other things, they don't have the dice module set up for character creation. So we are going to be using 4d6, and you're going to be taking away the lowest numbers. So let me have those numbers. Roll them.
I only have 1d6, so this is going to take a second. So that's a 1, 5, 3, 6. So 5, 3, and 6.
That's a 14. Yes?
Not bad. Yep.
Okay, that's stat 1.
Or, wait. Yep.
That's not good. Now, that won't be set in stone to be your strength. This is not the order. You can place them however you want.
So 5, 4. Oh, off the desk. Well, it landed on a 4 on the floor.
No.
That 3.
You'll find I'm a generous DM, but I'm not that generous.
And a 6.
So what were your totals?
So 5, 4, 3, and 6. So 5, 4, and 6. So that's a 15.
There you go.
Hot dice.
Okay. Third roll.
And got a 1, a 5, a 1, and a 1. Love that.
All right, so that's
a 7.
That's a 7. Okay.
You know what? Gotta love it. Sometimes you gotta have a negative modifier.
Sometimes you do. This is true. Plus, you don't know if you place it in something that you might have had a bonus in. Well, who knows?
Right.
Let's see what happens.
So there's a 1, a 2, a 5, and a 6. So that is a 13.
That's a 13. And you got two more stats.
Yep. Here we go. That's a 4, 2, 2, 3. So that's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay.
9.
So far you have a -2 and a -1.
Not bad, not bad. I'll take it. I've also got a 15 and a 14 and a 13, so I'm not mad about this at all.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 4, and 3. So
that's another 13.
13.
So the stats for this character can be a 14, a 15, a 7, 2 13s, and a 9. So let me see what that comes out to. Let me set it into manual first off. I'm not putting these aren't going like permanently into the sections. I'm just looking to see what the modifiers are.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 5, 7. That brings it down to 5. All right, that brings you down to it comes down to a total of 3, plus 3 for the modifiers because you got the 2 negatives in there. So if you want to go with this character and make a go of it, you can. That's going to be two tough negative modifiers to bolster down though.
Yeah.
Because unlike other streams that start, like for a one shot or something, they might start at like say level 5 or anything, so you have an ability modifier to add into it or feat to counteract that and everything. But we're going in from level 1, so there won't be any level 4 type stuff in here because you're really only going to be you should only be at level 3 by the end of the adventure. So it's up to you if you want to go with this character or if you want to try re-rolling.
I think I'm going to try re-rolling. Let's just see what happens.
Okay.
I've got the old scores still written down, but
yep.
We'll see. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 1. 4, 3.
So that's a 12.
12. 4, 1, 3, 3. So that's
a 10.
10. Okay, already we're very average. 4, 3. That landed on my phone. 6, 1. So that's a 13. 13.
Okay.
So far, not bad. 4. No falling off the desk, please. 6. 6. And 6. Okay, that's an 18.
That's an 18. You're doing better already.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be keeping this set. Jeez.
Okay, so you got 2 more stats to go.
Yep. That's a 6, 2, a 1, and a 4. So that's a 12.
Okay.
One more. Here we go. 4, 5, 6, 6.
Okay, so that's a 17.
17.
There you go.
Jeez.
That one's a keeper then, I would say, because so that's a pair of 12s, a 10, a 13, a 17, and an 18. Gee, I wonder where you're going to put that 18.
Damn, I'm going to be a charismatic little so-and-so, I guess. All
okay.
Right.
So, all right, so I'll put the 18 into the charisma. Duh.
Yes.
Now, you did put your racial modifier into your constitution.
Yeah.
But remember too that your saving throw is for wisdom.
That's what I was about to say. Is I think I'm gonna put the 17 into wisdom.
Okay.
You know, you got to deal with the Fae. That you got to be decently intelligent cookie to decently streetwise cookie to deal with the Fae.
Yep.
So I think that makes sense.
All right, so we've got the 17 in wisdom. We've got the 18 in charisma.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so constitution, you'll get the +1 for that.
I think I'm gonna stick one of my 12s into con. Dex should probably get that 13.
Okay.
So I get a fighting chance in initiative.
Okay, so dex of 13. So that leaves you your
10 and a 12.
Your 10 and the other 12.
So, on the one hand, it would be nice to be able to somewhat wield a melee weapon. But
finesse, that was the word I was looking for before.
Finesse.
With finesse weapons.
That is true.
With a finesse weapon, you can use your dex in place of your strength for your damage and your to hit modifier.
That is very true. So I'm just trying to decide whether it's better that the character be a little bit weak but brainier, or like very wise but doesn't know that the earth revolves around the sun or something like that. I can't decide which is funnier.
Okay. Well, that's the thing too, because with the 10 and the 12, you're not really losing anything. You're not gaining anything with the 10. There's no modifier.
Yeah.
So it's just an average. And the 12 will only give you a +1.
Yeah. You know, I'll go for a little bit more brains. So put that 12 in intelligence.
So we'll put the 12 in intelligence and we'll put the 10 in strength.
Indeed.
Okay, so the totals will then be strength of 10, dexterity of 13, constitution of 13, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 17, and charisma of 20.
Love to see it.
Literal silver-tongued devil.
I love it. Okay.
Okay, so now we can go back to, let's see. Now your spellcasting ability is going to be charisma. All right, so let's go to your spells now.
So first things first, let's get that Eldritch Blast.
Okay, you start out with 2 cantrips. Mm-hmm. So let's go by cantrip first. And right off the bat, we'll give you Eldritch Blast.
Are you playing a warlock if you don't get Eldritch Blast?
It's the eternal question, isn't it? I mean, because it's something that they do just really well, you know?
Yeah. I once played in an all warlock one shot, and
oh wow.
It was really fun, but it was like a puzzle-ish dungeon, and we ran out of ideas and ended up just simultaneously Eldritch blasting an obelisk. It didn't do anything, but it was fun.
So you were lucky in that instance then.
Well, we'd already tried like very carefully, like it's just this mysterious obelisk, so we very carefully tried touching it. Nothing happened. Okay, put the hand on it, nothing happens. I'm gonna lick it. Nothing happened. His mouth got
dry.
Thank you,
Yasiel Puig.
His mouth got a little dry.
Okay.
So then it's like, well, on the count of 3.
And everybody blasted it.
Yes. It didn't do anything, but it was fun.
Do you have an idea what you want to go for? Pact of the Blade or Pact of the Tome or Pact
I
of the
haven't
Chain
really
gets you a critter?
decided. Back to the chain would be fun. Just to get myself a little pseudo dragon or something. That'd be very cool.
Okay, so well,
It'd
yeah,
be fun.
somebody to fly with you.
Yeah, flight buddy.
Okay, well you have one more cantrip to choose from.
The ones that I'm looking at are Toll the Dead
I
is
love Toll the Dead.
terrifying. But I'm looking at that one or Minor Illusion or Magic Stone. Magic Stone is like a smaller sort of one, but I think it's interesting.
You
But
touch 1 to 3 pebbles and imbue them with magic. You or someone else can make a ranged spell attack with one of the pebbles by throwing it or hurling it with a sling. If thrown, it has a range of 60 feet. If someone else attacks with the pebble, the attacker adds your spellcasting ability modifier, not the attacker's, to the attack roll. On a hit, the target takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Hit or miss, the spell then ends on the stone. If you cast this spell again, the spell ends early on any pebble still affected by it.
I think it's fun mostly because it's basically just like you pick up a rock and go, hey, screw you.
Gandalf with the pine cones on the tree,
Yes, that's what it is.
handing it off to the dwarves to throw.
Yep.
All right. Oh, let me tell you about Mind Sliver. This is one of the newer ones. This is from Tasha's. It's got a range of, it's an action, range of 60 feet, only vocal component. Duration is instantaneous. The attack save is with int, is with your intelligence. So, you drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take a d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. Now, here's the thing. This actually goes up in damage as you level up when you get to certain levels. So it'll go from 1d6 to 2d6 at 5th. At 11th, it'll do 3d6, and at 17th, it'll do 4d6. A cantrip that does 4d6 of psychic damage. So the psychic damage, of course, very few things have resistances to psychic damage.
So that one, I'm caught between that and Toll the Dead because, like, flavor wise, Mind Sliver works really well for Fae.
Toll the Dead is fun too, but in playing a warlock that casts Toll the Dead a lot. Now we're not going to be using Roll20, by the way. This is going to be all theater of the mind. So we're not using a tabletop, a virtual tabletop like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds. But like when I'm running my character in Roll20, sometimes, and I've noticed this with the others too, you get 2 sets of damage, possible damage, that come up with Toll the Dead, because if they are already damaged, the enemy's already damaged, they take a d12 as opposed to a d8 if they're unhurt. But what sucks is when you look at the 2 rolls and you roll lower on the d12 than you do on the d8.
Ah. Oh. Could you imagine a cantrip that does 40-12 at 17th level? What?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Toll the Dead. Well, remember
Scales.
too, you will be able to get more cantrips as you go. It also depends too on what you take as feats in the future and invocations when you get to your Eldritch invocations, and your pact. You might get extra cantrips from your pact based on what you take.
I think I'm gonna go with Mind Sliver for the
Very cool.
for the flavor.
Very, very cool. Okay, so we are going to Go
All right, first
with
level.
Mind Sliver. And that is that is a school of enchantment. All right, so you have your 2 cantrips. Now, you get to choose your first level spell. You get 2 known spells. Now you have a slightly wider array of selection based upon your choice.
That fairy fire. That fairy fire's calling.
That's that's quite a thing to throw away your one of your 1 or 2 spell slots.
Yes, but each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet light, probably violet. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dexterity saving throw. For the duration, everybody sheds light for 10 feet radius.
Yep.
Any attack roll against an affected creature or object has advantage if the attacker can see it, and you can't benefit from being invisible.
Right.
So that's fun.
So do you want Fairy Fire?
I will think about it.
Okay.
And I think Hellish Rebuke I get as a tiefling, I think.
No, you do not.
No? Is that
Because
replaced by
that's
the
one of the
wings?
substitutions from taking the variant. Instead of Hellish Rebuke, they use the one of the possibilities was the Burning Hands. That was one of the choices between the Hellfire, the Vicious Mockery, and the Wings.
All right. Well, we'll see. I do kind of like Witch Bolt. That's a fun one for just some good sustained damage.
Yeah, that's a concentration, and you have your constitution is fairly decent.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna get some Witch Bolt in here.
Yeah, 30 foot range, vocal, somatic, and material. And yes, I am a DM that wants you to use materials. So yes, just like Caleb rubbing his bat shit on his hands to cast Fireball. Yep. But but with only first level spells, you only really need to worry about using them through whatever focus you have.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to go with Witch Bolt?
Yes, because let's see, you can use an action to just automatically deal 1d12 once it's hit. That is wild.
Okay. Do you want to go with the other typical warlock spell of Hex? Because Hex you can cast as a bonus action, first off. And you could actually attack, say, with your Eldritch Blast and use the bonus to hex somebody, and then as it's a bonus action, you can use a cantrip as your main action, and Eldritch Blast is a cantrip. So you could hex somebody and then shoot them with Eldritch Blast.
You know what? Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Okay. Yep. I think that's good.
Sold. Okay. So your spells, you have your 2 spells, you have your 2 cantrips.
Yep.
We have our ability, so let's go to the description now.
The backgrounds.
Now there are quite a few more backgrounds due to Tasha's. Now, some of the backgrounds are not available. I put Eberron in just mostly for some of the races and in case there were parts of, like, say, the Artificer that weren't covered in Tasha's. I'm not 100% sure about that. But, like, no real, like, nothing like with the Dragon Marks, none of the House Agents, because they don't have the households. It's not the households of Eberron here. But if you want to go with, I'll let you go along with, like, say, the like for Sage, you could use, like, I'll let you use the Cobalt Soul, the Cobalt Scholar, for a background. That's not a problem. I'll do the I made the Critical Role stuff activated, so.
So I'm not sure where I want to go with this. I might go for folk hero, um, folk hero or far traveler.
Okay, let's see. Folk hero. You come from a humble social rank, but you are destined for so much more. Already the people of your home village regard you as their champion, and your destiny calls you to stand against the tyrants and monsters that threaten the common folk everywhere. You
So
automatically gain animal handling and survival and land vehicles from this background.
yeah, I think that's just kind of interesting. Of like, oh, maybe the character like started off the Fae were kind of like plaguing the area or whatever, and she was trying to go and deal with them, and instead made a deal with them to leave her town alone, and now it's there.
Hmm.
And the Fae's like, "You're interesting. Go do some other stuff for me."
All right, so you want to go with that?
Yeah, I think that's fun. That wasn't what I was originally thinking of, but I think that's interesting. I think it's the like I think it makes the most sense for any of them, to be
Okay.
honest.
Do you want to check out what the other one was? You said Far Traveler?
Yeah, Far Traveler was the other one I was thinking of for the simple like
Um Almost all the common people and other folk that one might encounter along the Sword Coast or in the north have one thing in common. They live out their lives without ever traveling more than a few miles from where they were born. You aren't one of those folk. You are from a distant place, one so remote that few of the common folk in the north realize that it exists, and chances are good that even if some people you meet have heard of your homeland, they know merely the name and perhaps a few outrageous stories. You have come to this part of Faerun for your own reasons, which you might or might not choose to share. Although you will undoubtedly find some of this land's ways to be strange and discomforting, you can also be sure that some things its people take for granted are. Whoop, I lost my place.
will be to you new wonders that you've never laid eyes on before.
Yes, and by the same token, you're a person of interest, for good or ill, to those around you almost anywhere you go.
So this might actually work better for the tiefling aspect of it because the feature of it is all eyes on you. And so that is a like you can get attention from people because you're very obviously not from around and people want to hear stories of your homeland.
Right.
So an interesting way to kind of mechanize the whole, got horns and wings and like purple skin or whatever.
Okay. Let me see. All right. So,
I think that makes sense
yeah,
actually.
all eyes on you. Your accent, mannerisms, figure of speech, and perhaps even your appearance will mark you as foreign. Curious glances are directed your way wherever you go, which can be a nuisance, but you also gain the friendly interest of scholars and others intrigued by far-off lands, to say nothing of everyday folk who are eager to hear stories of your homeland. You can parlay this attention into access to people and places you might not otherwise have, for you and your traveling companions. Noble lords, scholars, and merchant princes, to name a few, might be interested in hearing about your distant homeland and people. Point of fact, you're not going to meet too many nobles or scholars in Saltmarsh. It's a port town that has the desire to be that some have the desire for it to be bigger than it is, and to get absorbed into the kingdom and become a full-blown kingdom port. And there are others who don't want the attention for various reasons. So I don't know if that's a reason for you to not necessarily take this, because you won't have really that much of an advantage as far as like contacts among nobles, or there'll be very few and far between, if any.
Okay. Maybe I will go with folk hero then, and go with that original thought. I don't think any of the other backgrounds like would make sense as much.
There's a couple of different things. You could try smuggler, you can try sailor. Those are a little bit more connected to the maritime theme. If that's, whatever you want to do, I'm throwing those out as possibilities too, because there are some that have a little bit of a different hook to them where Saltmarsh is concerned.
Sailor could be interesting. Though that kind of takes out some of the like Fae connection.
Okay.
So
that is a possibility there.
Yeah.
So if you want to, then folk hero would probably work very well for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go with folk hero. So you'll have animal handling, survival, and land vehicles as a tool proficiency. Plus, you get to choose an artisan's tool.
I think I'm going to go with... I like Tinker's tools. Be able to kind of fix little things.
Okay, Tinker's tools.
That's fun.
Okay, suggested characteristics.
Okay.
Do you have a D8 by any chance?
I do. I got my full set. Let's do it.
Okay, roll. I need you to roll 2 D8, please.
Okay. We got a 7. And so I misused long words in an attempt to sound smarter. I love that.
Allow me to remonstrate this.
And the other one is a 1. I judge people by their actions, not their words. That's nice.
All right. So, do you want the number 1?
Yeah.
Do you want to go with the Peter Quince? Or would you like to re-roll that?
I'm gonna re-roll that just because I don't know if I'll remember to do that.
Okay.
It almost went off the desk. 2. If someone is in trouble, I'm always ready to lend help. Oh, I think that's good. Okay. Ideals.
Okay, those are both set. Okay. That's 1d6.
That is a 6. Destiny. Nothing and no one can steer me away from my higher calling. Oh, that's really good, actually. The higher calling. Now it's with the Fae.
Okay.
I think I like that a lot.
It was almost like it was fate or destiny.
Wow.
Another d6.
All right. Got 3.
A proud noble once gave me a horrible beating, and I will take my revenge on any bully I encounter. That kind of works with the helping anybody in trouble.
Yeah.
And if anybody would know about being picked on, it would be a tiefling.
No kidding. Okay. And flaws. This could get real fun. Here we go. 1.
The tyrant who rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed.
Ooh. Hmm. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I would like you to keep that one.
Okay. All right. That's
Because
not ominous at all, but all right. I have a
the
shirt that says when the DM smiles, it's already too late.
but what happens if he frowns? Character details. Um, alignment.
It's probably something I almost want to say lawful neutral.
Okay. Well, that would
Because,
certainly fall into the area of the Fae, the Archfey,
yeah, yeah.
because they're
Because,
all about the order of things with a little bit of fun, but they're
mhm,
pretty much, as long as the order is pretty much maintained, they don't really give too much of a shit if it's good or for bad, as
yeah.
long as the order is maintained.
So I think for that, and
Lawful
like,
and neutral.
yes.
Faith we don't really have to worry too much about right now. It's something that you can think about and let me know what you want to do as far as that goes.
And this is a tiefling who has made a pact with the Fae. I don't think there's a whole lot of faith anywhere in this.
Okay, now as far as your lifestyle goes,
Lifestyle.
um I would say anything up to modest,
I'll
depending on how you
go.
want to play it. Anything up to modest. That was the maximum that I gave um the other player, just because part of the motivation might be you're looking for work in Saltmarsh,
Okay.
or you're
Um,
trying to make contact with somebody. That's another possibility too.
okay. I think I will go with poor.
Okay. All right, now physical characteristics.
Well,
Well, you've got those cat eyes.
mhm.
What color will they be?
Let's go with a like green gold. I have a cat. He is right now asleep under a bookcase, or I'd grab him and show him off, but I won't disturb him. Uh,
Ta-da!
but he has eyes when that are like gold around the edges, but when his pupils are narrowed, it's green in the inside.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Okay. What color hair do you want to have?
Uh, let's just go with black hair.
Okay.
Probably wears it long.
All right. So long black hair.
Yeah.
Okay. And the color of the skin? It's usually dark a dark red for this particular type. It was either a dark red
Dark blue
or
was
dark
the other
blue.
option.
If you'd like to go into a different direction, go ahead.
I love me strange colored tieflings. I'm gonna go with green actually.
A green-skinned tiefling. Interesting.
Let's have some fun. Like a like deep foresty green.
Okay.
So like in bad lighting, you might think it's just like dark skin, maybe black skin, and then come into the light and into actual light, and you're just like, oh no, you're green. Okay.
Okay, and about how tall do you think you want to be?
So let's go with without the horns. Let's go with a nice 5'8".
Okay.
Without the horns.
Okay, and wait, tieflings generally are of a fairly medium build. Plus, you have a nice dex.
Yeah. So,
You're not that muscular because you're not that strong. You have average strength, so you wouldn't be a beefy. You
nah.
wouldn't be a
So,
beefling. Do beeflings eat meat?
no, but they could yeet magic pebbles.
There you go. Yes, here we go with inside jokes from other games now. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Um.
So probably like 150-ish.
Okay. And how old?
Hmm. Pretty young, probably. Um, let's go with 20.
Okay.
And,
And the character's gender.
um, yeah, keep it simple. Let's go female. Just to
Okay.
be boring
Pronouns?
a little. It's like the one boring thing.
And her pronouns?
She, her.
Okay. All right. I believe that's that for your background and whatnot. That's that's it for description. Now we will go to equipment. Um, we're going to go with equipment that you get all your starting equipment. So we'll go with that as opposed to gold. Um,
I like that.
all right. So warlock starting equipment. Well, first off, you get any simple weapon, um, or a light crossbow and 20 bolts. That's an either
I'm
or.
gonna go with the crossbow.
Okay. Now component pouch or an arcane focus.
Remind me what the arcane focuses do.
Basically, the arcane focus takes the place of any material uh, components that you might need that aren't consumable.
Okay.
But in your instance, at first level, you don't really have anything that's consumable that you have to worry about.
Yeah. So I think I'll grab that focus.
Okay.
Um,
Now, do you want it to be a crystal, an orb, a rod, a staff, or a wand?
let's go with the crystal.
Okay, and you can even have that, as like a necklace or a ring.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Make it a necklace. Like it's like one of those like rough crystals that's like wire wrapped at the top.
All right. And do you want a scholar's pack or a dungeoneer's pack? Scholar's pack, you would have like your books and ink and quill and whatnot.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Dungeoneer's pack.
Okay. That includes a backpack, a crowbar, a hammer, 10 pythons, 10 torches, a tinderbox, 10 days of rations, and a water skin. The pack also has 50 feet of hempen rope strapped to the side of it. Do you want to hear what's in the scholar's pack?
Sure. Let's
Okay. The
see what I'm
scholar's
missing.
pack includes a backpack, a book of lore, a bottle of ink, an ink pen, 10 sheets of parchment, a little bag of sand, and a small knife.
I think I'll stick with Dungeoneers.
Okay. Dungeoneer's pack it is.
Oh, and I get a simple weapon anyways. Okay.
Yep. You get leather armor, any simple weapon, and 2 daggers.
Hmm.
Now, rapier is not in here. Dagger is a finesse weapon. You can
Yeah.
use that with your dex.
Yeah, rapier is I think a martial weapon.
Yeah.
So, don't get that. I'm sort of tempted to do the sling and possibly well, I should get a melee option cuz right now I'm very ranged. Hmm. most of these melees are strength weapons. Maybe I'll get a quarterstaff for funsies.
Okay.
Yeah. I love a good quarterstaff.
That's a cheap weapon. This is $1.25 quarterstaff. Old Muppet Show joke. Okay, so set of artisan tools, one of your choice. You.
I have proficiency in Tinker's tools.
So
I'll
I
just
would
get
say
those.
take the Tinker's tools. So you get them automatically.
Cool.
You also get, for the folk hero starting equipment, you get a shovel, an iron pot, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold pieces. So you're going to start out with at least 10 bucks.
Nice.
So we'll do that to add starting equipment.
I don't think I'll have. I won't have proficiency in any martial weapons. Because. Not a fighter. So, I won't be proficient in a rapier, but I might see about purchasing one anyways.
All right, so let's check your inventory, what you have. You have the backpack, the common clothes, the crossbow bolts, the light crossbow. You get the crowbar, you get your crystal, you get 2 daggers, you get a hammer, but that's an adventuring gear hammer. That's a tool hammer, not a fighting hammer. You have leather armor. I'll click where to that on that for you, so this way it's on your character sheet as part of your choices. I'm also going to arm your crossbow at least, because that puts all your possibilities up there. So even though it's you'll have to like use an action to take it out, I'm putting wield up there just so you know what your possibilities are.
Yeah.
On your sheet. So I'll do the same thing with one of the daggers. You're wearing the leather. I'll put the quarterstaff to wield too. So this way, when we have the character sheet, you'll be able to see all of your possibilities that you have.
Okay.
Let me see here. Okay, so then you have your rations, your rope, your shovel, your tinderbox, your tinker's tools, your torch, and a water skin.
Here we go.
Okay, so you're looking pretty good here. You got you got a total of plus 11 on your modifiers.
I love that fat +5 in charisma.
Yeah.
That's so good. Oh, that's
You're saving. You have a +7 on your charisma saving throw right now.
I get a +7 in my deception checks because I picked that to be proficient in. Oh, this is gonna be a fun time. Wait, so
You have
she's
+5
a
for persuasion. You have +5 for performance.
Wait, so I just thought of something though. She's a folk hero, so they're like she comes back from dealing with the Fae. She's made a pact with them, and so she comes home, and her whole town's like, "You did it! You did it! You killed the Fae that were bothering us!" And she's like, "Yeah, I did that."
Wait, I did that thing.
On a related note, I gotta go. So like her village thinks that she like.
But the sad fact is, I must leave you behind.
Like her village thinks that she went and defeated these Fae that were plaguing the village, and she just made a deal with them. And now she's like bound to them.
Okay, so well, you do still have your resistance to fire.
Cool. That's good. You never know when that's going to come in handy.
Yep. So you have +5 on your survival too. So yeah, you got the skills that came from folk hero with animal handling and survival, because you get the proficiency modifier plus your staff modifier for that comes out to +5. So you'll be doing pretty good there. That 7 in deception though Wow.
Oh, that's good. That's so tasty.
Okay.
Did I just accidentally make a tiefling party face? Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I think you did.
Oh crap. I'm not good at that. All right.
Well, this is D&D Surprise Party after all. So surprise, you're the face. Well, I will say this, I doubt anybody is going to get a higher charisma.
I very much doubt it.
Somebody else might come up with a 20 based on their modifiers that they choose, but they won't beat you out with the 20. I will say that's pretty much a assured thing. All right, so you are starting out with your max hit points. Um, I have to fix that actually because I think your hit points. Let me go back. Because it's set for manual right now. So when you start out at first level, you get your maximum roll. Whatever that is. You get your maximum roll plus your Constitution modifier, so you get 9. Your armor class is 12. That's because you have leather armor. But you can only wear light armor. That's the problem right now, because that's the only proficiency that you have.
Yep.
Um,
So I shall remain squishy.
for a bit, but you
Yep.
never know what you might find on the course of an adventure.
Might find something. Let me cast some mage armor.
All right, so it's looking pretty good. You have a +2 on your proficiency bonus at first level. Your walking speed. Oh, we also have flying though. Let me see what else we have here.
I get
Um,
30 feet flying if I'm not
features
wearing
and
armor, I
traits.
think.
Let's see. Um, additional. Let's see. Racial traits. Yes, winged. You have bat-like wings and a flying speed of 30 feet.
Liddy.
Now, if yes, so you have the bat-like wings that sprout from your shoulder blades. So if you want, instead of having them stick out all the time, rather noticeable, you can do the Goliath and Demona gargoyle rap bit and have it look like a capelet.
Love that. Yes, absolutely.
So, and basically, like the two little claws, like act as a latch. Kind of, it looks like a
That's
clasp. It looks like they're
that's
wearing capes
great.
with a
Oh, that's
clasp.
great.
You have resistance to fire damage, and you can see in darkness shades of gray up to 60 feet. Okay, you're too low level for feats yet. Eldritch Blast, Mind Sliver. Your spell attack modifier is +5, so that's because you got that charisma 20.
Well, it should be +7,
Oh
shouldn't it?
yes, well that's
Proficiency?
just your modifier, right? That's right. Yes, your spell attack is +7, so you get +7 with that Eldritch Blast,
Whoop,
and
whoop.
then you have a 15 saving throw DC.
Okay.
So now the only thing we really need for this character is a name.
Oh, names. I have a like flavor thing to run past you.
Okay.
So, for the horns, I think it'd be kind of interesting if instead of like the devil's horns, she has antlers, like deer antlers.
Well, that would definitely have
The Fae.
the Fey.
Like that's one of the like marks of the pact is that her horns like either maybe they like start as the like normal kind of like up and pointy horns and then they fork like antlers.
That's definitely doable. I will put that into the physical part.
Okay. Like it is
Maybe like
purely flavor thing that I think would be
um
interesting.
elk.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, they're a little
Where
bit
it's like the flat and then
the right. They're the flat with the slight angular parts and everything, so it's not like looking like twigs or sticks.
yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so let's go back to the naming section. So, your name.
So this is what reminded me of it actually is the Fae's whole thing is names and like asking you for your name. So what if she doesn't have her original name anymore and the Fae gave her a name? So it's a more like Fae inspired type of name. I'd have to still come up with it, but it's a direction.
Well, let's see. They do actually have a randomizer for names on D&D Beyond.
Ooh,
You want to give them a shot quick?
sure.
Let's see.
Randomize.
Saelmythe. Saelmyth.
Actually, that's really pretty. I'm writing it down. Let's see what else that Saelmyth.
E. So it could almost be myth.
Oh yeah.
Saelmyth or Saelmythe or
Saelmythe.
Saelmythe. You have the myth in there though.
Saelmythe.
Saelmythe.
Yeah. Saelmythe. All right.
You want to keep that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Saelmythe, thou art. Okay.
Whew.
All right. So we are all set. We have your character. Let's go to the. So, Saelmythe is born.
She is.
All right. So coming toward. Well, let's see now. Your town got together, scraped up some things for you. They basically equipped you. They, in their gratitude for helping to stop the attacks of these arch-fae agents, so to speak. Whatever the creatures were that were assaulting the village for whatever reason. They know that you're leaving them as the price for turning them away. And because of this, in their gratitude, they're giving you all that they can scrape together to set you on your journey. You are always, of course, welcome to come back as long as it doesn't bring the Fae back. As long as it doesn't, because as far as they know, you got rid of them. They're not going to bother them anymore. But you kind of gave a little bit of an idea that you had, because you really wanted to because you figured maybe it's going to be a little boring around here now. So you might have come up with a little bit of a story. Say, well, unfortunately, part of the pact is I have to leave you to keep them away. So you're making yourself out to be this so sacrificing person, this selfless person here, because you want to just get the hell out of this boring town. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay, so they scrape everything together for you. The smith puts together some gear for you, hot off the forge. Um, they the tanners make you a nice new suit of leather armor. Um, and the town scrapes together 10 gold pieces for you. That's all they can really afford. It's a small town, but they were able to scrape together 10 gold for you to take with to start you on your journey. And now, did you have now? How did you come to this village?
I think she was born there, and her parents didn't really talk about why on this strange planet she is the way that she is, with horns and weird eyes, and she's green. But it's a like there's rumors in the town that like the usual, like her mom had a one night stand with a demon, and or that dad got cursed. There's lots of rumors, I think, around what happened, but it doesn't really matter because neither of her parents will tell anyone what it actually was. And so she's curious about it, but she also knows better than to ask.
Okay, so it's part two of the fact that you went and you drove off these this Fey incursion. However, it means you did it. It changed the way everybody looked at you. It you've proven to be one of them, and that's why they feel a little bit closer to you now. You feel like you find, but you're like too. Wow, I had to like practically sacrifice myself for them to like me, which is another kind of motivation to get the hell out of this place.
Yeah.
So, so you have that, and they scrape together, like I said, all these possessions and the 10 gold, and then you have, um, your father and your mother are very, very proud of you, and they say that obviously there are some. Now, do you tell your parents what actually happened?
I don't think she does. I think she just considers this her own little secret about this.
So
Like, okay.
you're telling them the same thing you're telling everybody else, that part of this is you have to give up being home.
Hmm.
So you're going to tell them the same line that everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Um they of course say that they love you and that they're going to miss you terribly. Um and they'll get they'll your pa says that I'll get Luke to write letters to you, and he can read us your letters, just to let us know that you're doing well. And he gives you um a slip of paper. He says, "Here, Luke read this to me, and this is from a friend of mine, child. Here," and he hands it to you, and you see that a it's a letter. He says, Luke said this is from a friend of mine. He's off in the town of Saltmarsh, down the coast a bit. Um, you want to be looking for the head of the trading post. His name's Zephram.
Sure.
He Zephram. Zephram was an old friend of mine. I saved his life on a ship that I was sailing on in my younger days. Um, and I saved his life, and he said, if there's ever anything I can do to help, well, I'll do it. So Zephram sent me this letter. Luke read it to me, and he said that he's the head of a trading post now, and I had Luke send a letter to him asking for some help, and I'm sure you take this letter back to him, he will give you some help. He might set you on another direction. He might be able to give you some place to steer. You might want to even look into, I don't know, maybe signing on to a ship. Ship sailing builds character, my darling. It does.
You've been telling me that since I was 14, Pa. Ain't convinced me yet.
I know, but it's something possible. And the thing is too, he's got the trading post there. It might not necessarily be a ship. You might be able to. I don't know. You're pretty good with that crossbow there. You always have been. Maybe you might be able to hire yourself out as a guard on a merchant caravan or something like that. And Zephram can help you with that too. Something to help you along your way.
That might be more interesting. Uh, thanks, Pa.
Oh, I wish I could do more for you, darling. I do.
You've done a lot for me, Pa. Don't don't say that.
Well, even still, you know your ma adored you. And I've always adored you too. We've always tried to do what's best and what's right for you. And and I'm glad that the rest of the town can see how good you are. That the town can see how we see you. And you know, it's just it's hard to let you go and like this, but I'm so very proud of you, child. You took such a burden on yourself to save these people. Yeah, ask me, some of them don't even deserve it. But you're better than that. And I thank the stars that brought you to us.
The stars.
Well, the fates that gave you to us. That's the way all parents are, though, child. We look at our children as miracles, especially in these times.
Yeah, I guess. I just
But you best get going now, because it's a good 3 or 4 day trip to Salt Marsh. Fortunately, the way is pretty direct, so you don't have to worry too much about any troublemakers. But I know you can handle yourself.
yeah. The troublemakers. I'll make trouble for them first.
You always have, darling. You always have. All right, now you go on and get out of here, or I'll tell you not to go and risk destroying the town. But
All right, Pa. I love you.
I love you too, darling. Now go out and find find your stars. Find your way, your destiny. Mhm. And don't forget to drop us a line now and then to let us know you're okay.
All right. All right, all the time.
Okay, and don't worry about things here. Luke said he would help around the house and all, and with the farm and everything. So don't you worry. We'll be good here too.
Good. Stay good now, all right?
You take care now.
I will, Pa.
And you are on the road to Saltmarsh.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Little heartstring tug.
Yeah.
So,
What's the start of the adventure without the what you've left behind, after all?
yep. So like I said, we've pretty much done what we set out to do. You got your character. We went over some house rules. We went over some precautions, and we even got a little role play in to set the stage and put you on your way.
We did.
And you're on the road to Saltmarsh.
I have accidentally made another character with a southern accent. Voice subject to change.
That's no problem. That's not a problem. Okay. So, I don't know. I just fell into the old farmer and everything. It was like, I slipped into like Jonathan Kent mode almost. So, all right. So, that takes care of your session 0, Sarah.
Woo.
So, we will next see Saelmythe and you on January 13th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And that's when you will get to meet the rest of the party.
I'm very excited.
Okay, friends and fiends, thanks very much for sticking with us. I hope that you had some fun getting this peek in at Sarah's creation. This is where her character came from. So you've already watched some play by the time you're seeing this. So that's going to be it for now, friends and fiends. I'll see you again very soon. Well, as soon as you turn on session 0, number 3. But until then, take care, and I will see you in the future.